Okay. Okay, this is the March 12th, 2024 Public Safety Meeting. I will call it to order. Calling the roll, it looks like Councilmember Roach is present, as well as Councilmember Baldwin. And I don't see Councilmember Hubler. Did anybody hear anything from, is she online?
No.
Oh, she is.
No, she might be running.
It just says accepted.
She's accepted. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe she'll be here. She's not here right now, though.
Do you have to have three? She was okay? Okay, perfect, okay. All right, let's start with the approval of minutes. I did look over the minutes and didn't see any errors. Councilmember Roach, did you see any minutes in the minutes?
I did not.
Okay. All right, approval of the minutes, we are good to go. I'll start with the department reports and presentations. So let's kick it over to Steve Parkinson for the East Pierce Fire and Rescue Monthly Report.
All right, I'll be relatively brief this month, but my report begins on page 7. As far as stats go, we're starting to see a return back to normal just because of having a weather event, the cold weather event in January that kind of skewed our stats working with a small data set. So we're starting to see that normalize, but you'll still see if you looked across all of the stations throughout all of the pages that most show a call uptick of some sort. And again, a lot of that just goes back to having a cold weather event for us about triples our call volume over a number of days. So, and besides that, then if you look at kind of as you get towards the page with the pie chart on it, which would be on page 11, typically what we'd see is in the upper 70% would be EMS related. And right now we're down at the 69%. Again, that's just being skewed by the number of cold weather related calls that we had back in January. So things that will start to normalize as we progress in the year. So that's really it. I don't have anything significant to report on stats unless there's questions on that.
I do, I'm sorry,
yes.
you were saying 69%?
Yeah, so on the pie chart, you'll see that the big, so that's on page 11. Normally that the biggest piece of EMS calls would be the red slice there. Would typically be in the upper 70%. And right now we're down in the high 60s, which again is it's skewed by the number of weather related calls we had back in January. So
Okay.
That will, the law of averages will work out by the time we get to later in the year. So.
Okay. Very good. Okay.
As far as just other good to know items, the station across the street is progressing along well. We finally got the roof. It's 100% dried in now as far as roof goes. The bulk of the windows you probably noticed are on there. So the blue tarp is now gone. That's exciting. So they are doing a ton of work on the interior right now. So so good news all the way around there. The only other item that I'll hit on is I'll just throw these out there to pass around. This is just some information on Prop 1. This is our issue that'll be on the ballot in April. Anybody would like any down at that end? The short version is this is a request for a lid lift of the fire levy last approved by voters in 2017. Since then, we've made a lot of system improvements, and since then, we've also been dealt with a lot of growth and increase in call volume. So to keep up with all that, for us, largely comes in the form of people. 85% of our expense is boots on the ground. So just to make sure that we can continue to make ends meet, it requires a request to lift the fire levy back to $1.50 per thousand of AV. Like I said, that was last approved in 2017. So direct impacts to Bonney Lake, if approved. It most likely gets us an additional medic unit in town. We already have one. It's our busiest unit. It spends half of its time not in town. It spends half of its time going on calls elsewhere. It also places an additional unit into Prairie Ridge, which would be the primary place that it's drawing Bonney Lake into. And then complicating that is just the growth out into Holiday, drawing both of those stations, both Bonney Lake and Prairie Ridge, out into that community. So with that, it ends up staffing the station out into Holiday to make sure that it can handle its calls and not do the trickle down effect that ends up pulling the resources out of town here. So that is all that I have. If there's any questions on that or anything else, I'm happy to answer.
I did.
Yep.
So for Proposition 1, you're saying that the way that it will benefit Bonney Lake residents in particular, maybe not the surrounding area, but just Bonney Lake, would just be that it adds an additional.
Yeah, so it keeps so since 2017, we've done some pretty significant improvements to the systems, staffing level wise. But what we'd see immediately moving forward would be an additional unit in town. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it. Okay. Did you have any questions, Councilmember Roach?
No.
Okay, Councilmember Hubler has entered the room. Do you have any questions?
No, but nice job on all that. I like all the charts and stuff. It actually is really nice.
My data analyst likes colors. I'm like a grayscale person.
Color is so good because like you think about what you just did there. She did that so perfect that we can look at it easily.
Okay, Bonney Lake Police Department monthly report is given. Okay, yes,
Sure.
yes, please do.
Chief had previously emailed the members of the Public Safety Committee and other members of the department or troopers when they're in service. It was happening in Everett earlier today, and looking at the clock, they're probably stuck in traffic trying to get back down there. But in addition to the report that's included in your packet, he did note that on March 1st, we started 2 entry-level officers in the department. They are in a 6-week orientation and field our new hire training program. And we're waiting for spots to open up at the Law Enforcement Academy, and we'll move them into that as soon as we can. We have an additional 2 lateral type candidates that are in final background checks. And
Sorry, how many laterals?
2 laterals. And then a third lateral candidate who's passed the oral board and will be having the chief interview this coming Wednesday.
Exciting.
Okay.
Okay,
Full staff.
okay, council members, do you have any questions? Okay, I feel like I had one. What's usually the time frame for people to be able to get into BLEA, the law enforcement?
I believe it's about 6 months to get in, and now there's 6 months in the academy.
Okay.
So it's about a year before they're actually on the street.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Now we move on to the prosecutor's office monthly reports.
So, thank you, Councilmember Baldwin. So, for February, we had a total of 384 hearings where our office represented the city. 29 of those were arraignments, so those are new charges that have been filed. We had 146 pretrial hearings, so those are cases that are ongoing and we haven't entered a plea agreement or haven't taken them to trial yet. We also had 10, so a little bit lower for our number of hours of body worn camera. We only had 10.31, so that's definitely lower. I think that was probably just a weird fluke for this month, and we'll go up next month. We did have 130 discovery requests that we sent up, so we are seeing that those discovery requests that we're sending to Defense Council are staying up there. Part of the reason for that is with all of the video footage that we have, if the defendant hires a new defense attorney, sometimes the current defense attorney has a hard time forwarding that discovery because they aren't necessarily set up on their system. So I think that's why that number is so high, is we're sometimes having to send discovery out more than once when they hire a new defense attorney.
Okay, so the holdup is the discovery packets. If they're not in the system, so forwarding the information on.
Right, so we have to compile that again and re-email it to a new defense attorney. I think that's part of why that number is so high.
I'm sorry that it's 5. Sorry,
The 130. That was
over the discovery
the
packet.
discovery
Sorry,
packet, yeah.
my question was, why was the body worn camera
You know,
so much?
we don't know why we just reviewed less body worn camera. It was just, we were talking about that internally and we really honestly don't know why. I think it was just February was a weird month. And I think it'll go up again next month.
Or maybe less prime. Maybe. So I saw that, and I was like, that's a big drop.
Yeah.
It wasn't a little drop. Like, well, maybe that was a good policy for finding.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, all right, any questions, council members? Okay, all right, we will now move on to the emergency management monthly report. Regine Creel.
Hello.
So this is really just a verbal report for you guys this month. So we did finally get our comments back from the state on our comprehensive emergency management plan. So that's awesome. Actually, just some minor comments. So we're just gonna do some formatting updates to it. So next week we have our large exercise. So as soon as we're through with that, we'll be making those updates. I'll get to the exercise in a second. And so then you all will see it coming to council, to the committee and then to council for approval. That will be fantastic because that'll be our first comprehensive emergency management plan since 2000. So also our continuity of operations plan is now complete. So again, once we get through the exercise, we'll be formatting it and printing it. So you all will be receiving a copy of that as well. That one doesn't get approved. It doesn't go through the standard process. It's a constantly updated document. But it's just an awareness piece for you all so that you have an easy record to see again the delegations of authority and lines of succession within the departments and what the plans are for operations should they need to, alternate to another facility or anything like that. So it'll be a reference point for you guys. So to the exercise, that's next week. We've been looking forward to it for 2 years now. So next week we'll be working within our emergency operations center with our Sumner partners and the Sumner Bonney Lake School District to coordinate evacuation and shelter in place for all of the students in the district. But we'll be simulating a Lahar incident and then they'll move accordingly based on their different plans. It's part of the larger EPIC-wide exercise. So 2 years ago was the largest Lahar evacuation exercise in history, and that one was 25,000 plus students. This year we're actually closing in on 30,000, so we just kind of keep increasing that number. We do have, yes, and we're pretty excited because the USGS is really involved with this one. We're bringing in scientists from all around the country. They're doing a number of presentations in the schools around the region about what a Lahar is, what it means, different demonstrations. You'll see some information going out. Actually, it's going out this afternoon about a presentation they're giving on the 18th that's open to anyone anyone could go to it. It's a public meeting to again discuss Lahars, but we will have the USGS in our EOC with us for the exercise as well. So some great partnerships, should be a good exercise, and we'll all be really glad when it's done. A couple of questions on that one.
Yes.
So, do the businesses and stuff in Bonney Lake know about the drill?
So here in Bonney Lake, there's no movement. So there hasn't been a huge outreach to the businesses because there's no traffic impact like there is in Sumner. In Sumner, Puyallup, Ording, where the students are moving, all the public information officers have been meeting regularly to do the updates to the businesses.
Do you know if the meeting that's on the 18th, that's at the district office, isn't it?
No, it's at the Puyallup Library.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know if our community has been made aware
Mhm.
much of that? Because I don't see much out there on it. And the only reason I know is because I own a business in Sumner and their emergency management came to my business.
Yeah, so I have a representative from our EPIC team that's been going out. She is beating the streets right now and she is putting up flyers all over in town. So,
And then
yeah.
also, in addition, I got information from our EPIC reps, so I'm gonna be posting that to our social as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure the public always knows, especially that kind of stuff, because when God forbid it ever actually happens, that we are due.
Yep.
So we want to be prepared.
Yeah, and we're also working with is it USGS for messaging, like what is Lahar, what do you do, especially in this area? And a lot of that will take also place after post drill, doing more education after the fact.
Will that go to anybody that has like the Pierce County emergency
The
system,
alert.
like, the alert system?
So
That will largely go out via social media. And really it's meant to be just a large public education push. We've asked them to draft the language so that we're not individually trying to come up with explanations. It's based in science, right? It's coming from the subject matter expert. So they're drafting all of that language and then it'll go through mostly the social media platforms.
There will be, so if you are signed up for, what's our alert system?
Bonney Lake Alerts.
Bonney with alert, so then Puyallup has alert and Sumner has an alert system too. So Puyallup, at our last meeting, Puyallup and Sumner are coordinating some messaging that's gonna go out, but there's a radius, so it will hit up into this area as well, most likely. So.
And it's really, it's going
this is
out
a test, yeah,
and it's going out based on, again, the kids moving in that area.
yeah.
How widely put out there has our Bonney Lake alert system been? Because I didn't know we had one.
So we've done some social media pushes. We need to make some internal updates to it. So it needs to go broader. I will say that. It's on the website. It's also advertised through the Epic site, and we've done some Facebook pushes with it, but
Especially when we launched it,
Yeah.
but not much sense.
Is that on Code Red?
yes, Code Red, yeah.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
So on the Bonney Lake alert system, does the person have to go in, the citizen go in and sign up? That's how they go, so it's a
Yeah.
voluntary thing.
Yep, it's an opt-in. And so what it is, the Pierce County alert is still active. So I always tell folks to sign up for both. So, if they live in Bonney Lake, sign up for Bonney Lake alert and then still sign up for PC alert. Because Bonney Lake alert allows us to call, text, or email within city limits. Whereas, PC alert allows the county, right, to send that message to a broader scale. Right, so we have including unincorporated, crossing jurisdictional lines. So we work pretty closely with them.
Well, one thing when you're advertising, you remind people to change their address.
Mhm.
When we had that big fire, I thought my house was gonna burn down and realized it was my old house.
Oh,
We were evacuating,
yeah.
we got the alert, and then realized later that.
Oh, wait.
We were in danger.
Oh, no.
That's.
Yes.
That's funny.
The other thing,
Watering down that roof.
the other thing that we did, because every jurisdiction in the Epic area has an alert system now. So Puyallup alert, Ording alert, we have a landing page on the Epic website so that someone can go there and they can sign up for Puyallup alert and Sumner alert and Bonney Lake alert. Like they can do it from a one-stop shop. So
Okay.
yeah, to minimize some confusion.
I think my question is, well, I have a couple of questions. You said that the comprehensive emergency management plan, feedback that you got from the state was positive. There was just some things that you had to change.
Yeah.
But you had mentioned that it hadn't been updated since 2000. So was there a comprehensive emergency management plan in place in 2000 or it never was?
So the best that we could find, the last adopted CEMP, which is what you'll find in the documents.
Yeah.
The last time one was adopted in Bonney Lake was 2000.
Okay, so it hasn't been updated since
Correct.
2000.
Yep.
Okay. And then I think I have another question. You were saying that people that you've been contacting businesses down in Sumner, but not necessarily up here. I'm assuming that's going to be a part of the plan at some point, right? Like to alert, because I know that stuff will happen as far as Lahar is concerned, but then people will flood up the hill.
Yeah, so just to be clear, I'm not contacting anyone in Sumner. The Sumner emergency manager is doing that.
Okay.
And the messaging is very targeted because students are walking down the street. And so
Yeah.
real world, they want the businesses to be aware that they're closing streets and thousands of students
Gotcha.
are gonna walk by.
Okay.
That's the messaging that's going out. It's not public education based.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then you had said on March 18th that you're going to be going over Lahar drill strategies and that's an open public meeting. Is there more information on that?
It's not Lahar drill strategies. It's actually like, what's a Lahar? It's the USGS presentation.
Okay, got it.
And so,
When is that? Yeah, I know it's March 18th, but what's more about it?
actually, I just got the flyer, so I'll
Okay.
apologize. I can't tell you exactly, but they'll be
Okay.
giving a full presentation on the alarm system, like the alerting system that they have, and like
Okay,
timelines of, when things move through the valley and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the flyer we'll be sending it out this afternoon.
okay. Okay, any more questions?
Actually, yes, that just made me think.
Go ahead.
Something like this, because we are in that zone, then that risk could happen someday. Could we put this towards, all the music and the park stuff, like, we're gonna have a booth out there for, Wednesday nights and during beautiful, or Bonney Lake days, oh my gosh. Can we make sure we have, just like, cause like last year, having the parks plan stuff out there was hugely beneficial for the community to like actually get engaged and see what we were doing. Just to have that, even if it's just big, huge life size, people are like, oh, that's so cool. Okay, now I know how to sign up for it or something like that.
Yep, we had flyers and brochures and things out last year, but we could definitely do a larger.
I think a larger one would, it would even be more beneficial
Yeah.
than the little, flyers and stuff, just cause.
Yeah.
You
Yep,
know,
actually,
People love those.
we have the QR code. That's what we use. on our-
QR codes are amazing.
Yeah, that's what we
Oh my
have on our
gosh.
sign up.
Of all the good things
Yeah.
COVID brought us, it was QR.
I know, people love it. Yeah, we can definitely look at including something larger. We did the half-size postcards last year with the QR codes on them, and they were quite popular. In fact, we have to reprint them. So, yep, we can include them again.
Thank you guys for all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And good job trying to create something that didn't really exist, because it's a lot of work.
It's been a lot of fun. I mean, and we have our team here in the city and the team within the Epic Emergency Management Group is just fantastic.
Yeah.
So wait until you see our 3-year work plan. It's gonna knock you over.
Okay, very good. All right, we are now going to move on to item D5, Allen York Park Operational Plan. Jason Sullivan.
So we're here today to brief the the committee on the operational plan that we have prepared for Allen York Park. This operational plan represents kind of the best of the city's groups. So it was a joint effort, with the police department, David Wells from city administration, working with special events, Regine helping us with the operational plan itself. All of our operational team, Lance, Kramer, Todd, Chuck was also there as a risk manager, and then the police department were there as well. So we've been meeting, and Leslie is the PIO. And we've been meeting since early February to discuss,
Can you just say what? Yeah.
Public
Information
information
officer.
officer, thank you.
sorry, we had been meeting since February to discuss how we were going to operate Allen York Park, given all of the concerns that were raised last year. And so this kind of represents our plan moving forward for how we're going to provide security and maintenance to Allen York Park over the summer. Kind of the way this works in an operational plan, it has kind of 3 sections. The first one is kind of a background section, which discusses kind of the things we already know about Allen York Park, that it's been attracting more and more people from across the region. For a number of reasons, we kind of list those there so we all have a common understanding. And also that the lack of a coordinated plan kind of came to light last year. We had a number of security issues, then put a shots fired call at the park. So both the chief and I want to pull everybody together to really come up with a plan for how we'll do this. And so we've also identified objectives for that plan, which is, you can see those are under safety and security, crowd control, entertainment, supporting entertainment activities, communication and information, and then infrastructure maintenance. And there's some goals, so our objectives. And so as we wrote the plan, those are all the objectives we kept in mind as we prepared this plan. So when you look at the plan itself, the current plan is to have 3 off-duty patrol officers at Allen York Park on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. The off-duty officers will be canceled or added based on weather conditions. There's one Bonney Lake Police Department sergeant that's going to be tasked with overseeing the administration of the program, and off-duty officers will come from the Bonney Lake PD or other regional law enforcement partners. And that's in addition to the Marine Patrol unit that was already going to be out there. So this is specifically for Allen Park. One of the officers will be tasked with traffic and parking violations, and then 2 of the officers will be focused on security and criminal deterrence throughout the park. We will still look at getting 2 Pierce County security officers. This is down from, I think, the 6 we had last year. We're transitioning away from them to use more of the off-duty officers. And if Chief was here, he could explain all the reasons, but it was his best judgment that would be the best way to go. One of those will be assigned to the boat launch parking to make sure only those with a boat pass, the annual boat pass, that they by the PD get into the boat launch parking area, and the other will be assigned to the gate entry for the beach area. The crews are going to be thinning out the greenery around the restrooms and the ball fields to improve visibility and security. The parking lot lighting and the outer perimeter of the ball field, the lighting will be illuminated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not really a change that we do now, but we want to document it in the plan. The boat launch will be secured with a chain and a lock. I provide secure access to the boat launch. The code this year will be different than the one we issued last year. We did not put the code in the plan because you can see the plan as a public document. We didn't want to put that out, but there is a new code. We have it. When you buy your boat launch pass, you get the code.
It's just one singular code.
Yeah, one singular code, 4-digit code. No, it's just a 4-digit code. 4-digit. It's the 4-digit combination
To
to the lock.
So only people
One
that,
code.
yeah,
One code.
only people that have bought the pass will get it.
Should I state the obvious?
Yeah,
Yeah,
if they share it, when they go to pull their boat trailer into the parking lot and they don't have their pass, they're not gonna be allowed to park the boat trailer in the boat trailer parking lot.
So they'd have to borrow their friend's boat pass technically, and then they could use the 4-digit code.
Yes,
Because a police officer will be stationed there,
one security officer.
but not always. Right?
On the weekends, the Pierce County security will be there all day. To watch that ball through the parking lot, and you have to physically show your annual pass to get into the boat trailer
Gotcha.
parking. So yes, if you text your code out to all your buddies and they show up. And when they go to pull their boat trailer, and if they don't have that annual pass, they're gonna be like, you need to go get your annual pass.
Okay.
And if they say, well, my boat's already launched, we'll need to retrieve it, and they go get your annual pass and come back.
Okay, and I'm hoping that people who are launching their boat are aware that they shouldn't leave it on their boat.
They're supposed to have it in their vehicle when they're parked in the trailer parking lot, because that's how they verify they don't get a ticket for parking.
I just want citizens to be sure. I can just see,
That's part of our educational campaign. We can make sure that I work with Leslie to get something out there.
Awesome.
Here's how the boat trailer is gonna work this year, and we can put it out there.
Okay,
We're gonna focus enforcement on paid parking and the permitted parking in the communities. We have that map of the areas that have been identified as restricted parking only. That is the map that's attachment 1. Anything in yellow is where parking is required by permit, which means if you live on the street, you can get a free permit from the city to park your vehicles on the street. This is in response to some complaints that we received from citizens last year regarding their neighborhoods taking the brunt of Allen Park, and this is how we've alleviated. Same approach that's used around the Sounder Station in Puyallup, Sounder Station in Sumner, any big venue where you have, the Shower Center in Kent, anywhere you have people that are looking for on-street parking that impacts neighbors. This is kind of the standard approach that's used.
I have a quick question. So residents can get, you said the free passes. Where do they get those from?
The city clerk's office.
Okay,
And everybody who lived on those streets received a letter once already.
yeah,
We will be mailing out another letter once we have a date for when those signs are gonna go up, reminding everyone once again,
gotta get you.
get it
Yeah.
and how they get that,
Okay,
how they get that. 4 spots in the parking lot by the shack, the snack shack up against the road are gonna be blocked off for emergency parking. We've had a couple of times last year that if we've had to call emergency vehicles, there's really nowhere there for them to park. And that's also the 4 stalls are right there where it's the tightest, and we've had a lot of issues in the past, and so we figured that would be the best way to provide the emergency parking. Lance and his crew are actually going to stripe it as no parking, emergency vehicle parking, so that if we have to call a fire truck or an aid car, and police need to have additional support, they have spots that they can pull into right off the bat.
How we can make sure that nobody else parks there. I mean, like, your thought.
And then we strive, it says emergency park, and then we have a contract with Cascade Towing to tow any vehicles that are parked.
Okay.
Someone will still park there,
Well, but
and then it can get towed, and then do that. Crowd control, we are gonna limit the beach this year at 250 guests at any one time. Last year it was 350 and we had problems, so we're gonna because people sneak in, people go around the fences. The Pierce County security guards don't do the greatest job of calculating, so 350 last year turned into 500, so we're gonna put the cap at 250 this year, knowing that it'll probably be closer to 350 in actuality.
How did they handle that last year? Were they actually closer or we just jumped on the fence?
Really, the problem we had last year, this is kind of why we're moving away from using preliminary, just the Pierce County security. People didn't care what the Pierce County security guy said, and so they just kind of ignored them. So that's why we're moving to having off-duty patrol officers to help enforce that. But yeah, they would climb over the fence, they would come in with a kayak where no guy goes. We've talked with Lance, we're gonna fence from our fence all the way to the bulkhead, to try to prevent them from doing that. But it's hard to.
Your wire on top there.
Yeah.
You know, they won't win with the fence.
Well, and it's hard to stop too, because they'll run out and they'll get their stamp and say, oh, I need to run back to my car. And they'll run back to their car, but then they let through more people in anyway, so it's a management, we're trying to manage it the best we can, knowing that we don't have the greatest way of doing it, where we want to bring people in, we can't because it's not ADA compliant, so this is our plan for this year. And then we're gonna make some changes in the off season next year to try to improve that control of that area.
I'm glad to hear that. It was a zoo every time I drove past there last year, just going, there's so many, there's no way it's, as where it should be, but. And most of the time when I would drive by, the security persons would be sitting at a table, not doing anything. And I was like, hello. I just watched people walk right on past them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're hoping with the patrol officers down there and really working to focus on just counting the numbers at the gate, that having officers in the vicinity will help to improve compliance.
Question on the officer side, is that, how is that being paid for? Like, what's our budget for paying for,
The chief is working on that in the beginning. He was hoping to be here today to have that conversation, but. But he is aware of the budget issues and there is a budgetary line item that he is drawing on and he's working to make sure he's within those budgetary constraints.
Have you talked or thought about it all, or proposals going to mitigate that a bit, like? Find I don't know, one thing I was thinking of was potentially issuing a limited number of non-resident boat passes and charging larger fees, so we recoup some of the cost.
Not for this year, just because we really haven't had a change in conditions, so we're just kind of sticking with what is working this year. And then as part of the budget, we do have some things that we're proposing to bring forward, that would possibly allow us to do something different next year.
Okay, yeah, I'm always, because obviously, they will lay taxes, there's no access. So you've got the entire county wanting access to one point. And we've got our taxpayers paying for these three, sheriff or deputy, not deputies, but police officers, which is great we have them. But our people are paying for coming from Spanish and wherever else. So anyway, we can help that by charging people that don't live in Bonney Lake.
Yeah, and we're trying to figure that out right now. Part of the challenge we have, and I was talking with John about this earlier, is we acquired Allenmuir Park through a state grant. So there is some issues with treating residents and non-residents different, and we're doing that research right now and talking with RCO. Because all of Allenmuir Park was purchased with a state grant, except for the beach area and the boat launch. Yeah, we got a grant back in the 1970s, 71, 72. Yes, I'm familiar with all the documents.
That's the park piece, but not the water.
So yeah, the little boat launch and little beach area, we had prior to that. But then in 1971, 1972, we applied for a grant that taught basically where Ball Field 4 is, where the main ball field is. And then in the late 90s, we purchased the Moriarty property, which is where Ball Field 5 is, separately. So we'll try to figure out how those obligations we have under those grants that are 50 years old impact what we can do. So that's why for this year, we're just kind of holding steady while we do that research, and then coming forward to the council later this year and part of next year with kind of a more comprehensive approach, once we have understanding of the framework from those grants.
Do you know if the parking fees that we're gonna be charging, are those gonna go towards this budget, do you know, or like what will that help offset?
Any ticket the patrol officer writes goes directly into the general fund, which I guess in theory would offset it. The parking fees themselves, are going to the capital projects list to make improvements in the parks. So the $4 for 4 hours and $10 for all day, those go directly to the park CIP to make it, to use to offset costs to build capital improvements in the parks. But then any money they, like if they write a ticket for $250, that goes straight to the general fund.
So, okay, yeah, so it goes to the general fund, but it doesn't, then how is the off-duty police officers being paid for?
It's out of the general fund. So
Okay,
there's not a,
there isn't a specific line item that's coming from the general fund.
yeah,
Is there a way to create a line item to
I
make
would
sure
have to-
that?
I would have to defer to the, I have to defer to the city, the CFO on that.
I mean, I'm gonna kind of piggyback on Councilmember Roach and what he said. I just wonder, you know, I know that limitation is obviously the boat trailer parking, and I don't know if you're gonna mention anything more about that as far as you know, moving forward on trying to create more of that in the future. Because we only have, what, 23 spots, which is not very much, and you know, selling passes to residents does probably make that fairly full. But could we potentially do that in the future? And what is the plan for that, for boat trailers?
So try not to get sidetracked too much, but one of the things that we're gonna be looking at is we will be demolishing the old city hall building and some of the public work maintenance buildings this year in the fall, provided issues with the historical society are worked out. That's the only thing holding us up right now is we have people occupying part of the space. The plan is, and we're working through it right now, is the council did identify about $540,000 for the conversion of Field 4 into parking, and that was kind of put on hold back in May of last year until we finished the parks and trails and open space plan. We're gonna be hopefully coming back to council with a request to take that money and begin the design of building the boat trailer parking where the old city hall site was, which was the council's preferred option back in May, and also the preferred option coming out of the parks trails and open space plan, and then putting in a decision card next year to do that work in 2025 to actually build the lot. And there might be a way to do something in the interim in the summer while we build out the lot. We're having to figure that out. Leslie and I did find a grant that we're gonna apply for to help us offset part of the cost. But that'll be one of the projects that we bring forward in the budget, is that hopefully do the design this year with that funding that was already available for Ball Field 5 boat trailer parking, just moving the location. So we can get about a preliminary design done, so we know how much it would cost to actually do the new one, because we have to do stormwater improvements and it's just costly, so that we can put in for a decision card. At that point, the council can make a decision, because we're also trying to make sure that we don't provide more boat trailer parking than was provided in the past. Because the other challenge with Lake Tapps is its overcapacity. And there's a 2005 boater management plan that talked about maintaining the level of boat trailer parking that was to maintain the capacity on the lake. Because for a recreational lake, it's actually over capacity. So we're going to be looking at back and see kind of what we provided in the past. The Moriarty property the Ball Field 5 was actually only used for boat trailer parking for about 8 years. Before that, it was always over at Field Four. So we've kind of just gone back to what we used to do from like the mid-80s, the best we can find through about the late 2019, you know, early mid-2000, between 2005, 2010, when we switched it over to the Moriarty
So
property.
I guess for the 8 years, is that not gonna be taken into consideration for the amount of parking that was provided by the Moriarty property?
We're gonna look back and see what we had in 2005. And as that set that as the baseline, because that's when the boat management plan was adopted for Lake Taps. And then see how much further we want to go over, because really that we've got a challenge between providing access, but if you put too much access on, if you put too much river parking, then you've got the other problem, of providing too much capacity. So we're trying to find that sweet spot. So we're gonna look back and see what it was in 05, when the boat plan was adopted, where we were at with using the Moriarty property, and then kind of see what that,
Okay,
what that.
I'm just curious how soon you'll know those numbers.
End of the year. Because that's what we'll be hopefully.
That's when you'll know spots that we can do.
Yeah. Because what we're gonna do is we're going to, probably here in the next couple of months, I've tasked him to try to get a quote together for a contract to figure out to do the plan for.
Yeah, no, I understand the plan. I guess my question is just the number of spots, and I feel like that's something that can be known now, isn't it? What was available parking wise, boat trailer parking wise in 2005?
I would have to go. I'm working with Debbie, we're pulling up all the research right now. Part of this, there's not a document. I have to find an aerial photo
Yeah,
of that time frame and sit there and
count,
count.
okay.
And so it's.
The 2005 plan binding.
It's not binding. It was just, that was what was adopted by the county and with the city input and the boater, the people who live around the lake. And so we're trying to honor that. And I one time Nancy was here and she raised that same issue when we were talking about the parks plan.
She did, but she also raised the issue of 23 spots being very low.
Yes, and so it's somewhere between, we had more than 23 and 05. What that upper level is, I don't know.
Okay.
Part of it's also gonna be what can we fit on the old city hall site.
Okay.
Right, because eventually you're gonna wanna take the Field 4 boat trailer parking and put it back to regular parking for people who use Field 4.
Okay.
So it's figuring out what we have in 2005. I think that's the one number that's easy, but I think the more driving number is gonna be what can we physically fit on the old city hall site
Okay.
with access and improvements that. So that's what I'm saying, is that plan that we're gonna get done, we'll lay it out. We'll be able to give you, this is the number, and then we can look back to see how close or far we were from that 2005 number.
Okay.
And then move forward with a decision card in 2025 for the 2025-2026 budget for the act.
And it's gonna be a lot to find that right balance, because we do need to make sure that these citizens that are not voters also have ample parking. We don't have ample parking there for just people to go to the park or go to music on Wednesday night. So we're already short on that. So just then to find that balance is gonna be a big challenge.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead. Councilmember Roach?
What were you done?
I would say long term, that's why we want to turn Field 4 back into regular car parking. And then long term, where the city decant facility is, long term, there's the plan for parking in there as well. So that would provide additional parking for park as well.
My question was, so last year, Pierce County on the north part, they implemented a new plan. I know Taps Island implemented some new things that were much more restrictive. So I'm wondering, do we ever count, do we have counts every year? How many people come? I wonder if the shutting those two parts, those two launches down, or it's limited, it's pushing even more.
Yeah.
We see here.
Yeah, it's pushing more on your park, both in boat trailer parking and just regular people wanting to come the park.
And it's tough, that was, we don't have a one-way entrance like Miller Park or Taps Island. We've got coming from all the places, you can't.
You can't jump.
And that's why the long range plan for Allen Park is actually to reroute West Taps Highway to blend the beach area and the main park area. Very expensive, probably won't happen for 10 or 15 years. But that's what we're looking for, and that's why we want to do the boat trailer parking earlier in the project, so we can at least get that, and that'll add some parking, regular car parking as well. But we might be able to add some regular car parking in too, as we do the boat trailer parking lot, depending on how it gets laid out and funding the cost that's available.
Continues or not?
I just want to let you know, so talking about Wednesday night, we actually closed the boat lot on Wednesday nights to help with the, on-street parking, or the parking issues for Bonney, for the Tunes and Taps. We also will close the boat launch for Bonney days, and also the Labor of Love triathlon. We will be out there every day at 6:30 in the morning to make sure all the facilities are cleaned and stocked. And then we're adding porta potties to the beach area and also behind the ball field too, to help people with their experience. So, like I said, this is our plan for this year. What we're going to do through the end of the season, we're going to get back together as a group and talk about what went well, talk about what didn't go well, and then we'll readjust this same plan for 2025 based on any improvements we make to the park or any knowledge that we get.
Okay, very good. Any other final questions? For Jason?
Well, just the, we're getting the word out and everything, and that was the topic last time, like a couple citizens here, is that all being put out there on the sources?
Yeah, so we've done our first post on social media and website, letting people know the boat launch is open, and it's open to the.
It's not on the social media. Oh, the chief did, the PD did, and I should.
And so our next one's gonna be, I think, this one about how the boat launch trailer parking is gonna work going forward. We're also,
Will this whole document be visible?
no, we're gonna share out our operational plan.
Like this thing right here?
Yeah, we're not gonna put the operational plan out. This is,
Isn't it available to the public?
yes, but we're gonna just, I mean,
Okay, I mean, sure, okay. I feel like this is really useful, but, okay.
we're gonna take the information out of some great informational campaigns that we put out that it's more targeted. There's someone having to sit down and read kind of a operational plan document that's not, I don't know if it's getting the same level of information as us taking the information and putting it out in small snippets over time. That was on.
Okay, is there a way for, people to be able to, Jeff and Nancy are normally sitting right there and they update the public on, certain social media sites where there's actually voters that are looking and waiting for information. I feel like it's always secondhand, like they're always having secondhand information that we have. Is there a way for us to make it firsthand? Where we're, I don't even know how that would work, but we're a person that's on these social media platforms that voters are on. And then we are then pushing that information out, kind of like police departments do.
No, not, it might be private. I don't know that we would be able to
We
be.
share we have an account that's on Lake Taps Voters Group, so if we want to, we share directly
You
to
can
it.
share it.
We don't
Yeah.
do it a lot, but do.
Okay, yeah, I just feel like that would be
Typically, we
helpful.
don't.
Is there a way that we could?
I was gonna say, like with the Bonney Lake Woods and stuff, do they have, I'm familiar with setting that up, and it seemed pretty simple, and it was cheap. And I can't remember, they have like those subgroups.
Hmm.
That you can just put everybody who wants to know the voting stuff, they get the flash out every time they move on.
It's a good idea. Is that something
I
that
don't know
could be
what
done?
our policy is or what information is shared through Bonney Lake Alerts. We have to look at that.
The current policy is for emergency use only, but I mean, if the only challenge with it is if we make it general, then we have to collect their information and specifically enter it. Like, we take on the maintenance of it. They can't go in and elect to go into a group. Right? So like, I have to take on the maintenance of the voters group and putting people in and out. yeah, it's not like they can just elect to receive
And
something.
if we do a standalone one, I did this in Taps, I thought it was like super simple, I mean, a phone call, it's a sheet, and everybody joined. Yeah. So it could be just a standalone one, it's not even, marketed, but the, see.
Just for voting, just late, maybe it's just like late.
I mean, I
Maybe, maybe a listserv or something that we create an email list on the website, if they want to subscribe for that, that might be a more appropriate venue to do it. But they need to still go and sign up and making sure updates are there. We do that with, until our city council meetings are all sent
I
out.
think all of them, I mean, get very interested.
Yeah.
So it's not staff time.
And also, like, the information is available on our website. We will share the updates through our social as well. So they can also like our page and follow too, or see what is on the committee reports. It's nice that, we have, Nancy that's active in that group, so she could be a point person, so we're engaging her and helping us communicate with her.
So I think we can work on getting a listserv together,
Yeah.
like a constant contact one.
Yeah, constant contact, or it's just through our website too, there's one.
They just
Yeah,
have
how
the
you say,
social-
planning commission or land use
Mhm.
notices, something like that, things like that.
Okay, we can do that, and then that way, when we post things to the website, we can email out that information to that listserv.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, but maybe I am. I just feel like in this website, it just seems like that's an easier thing instead of trying to even compile a listserv.
I was talking to.
I guess I don't know what the hesitation
I
is.
think I was talking
Pushing it out.
to Leslie, when we push it out to our social media.
Right, but I think one of the issues that we've had over time is, we haven't been able to communicate with the public effectively on a lot of things, and that's what Jeff and Nancy are constantly complaining to us. They are telling us, like, the information's wrong on this, people couldn't find it on the website, like, they've been telling us this entire time. And so I'm just trying to figure out, like, there has to be a simpler way to reach out, and people are getting, information secondhand instead of firsthand from us, unless they, specifically subscribe to this, or they go to the website and search where to go.
Well,
Maybe.
correct me if I'm wrong, John, but I think most of the larger cities that do that have a dedicated communication staff. And that's all they do is they monitor the social media feeds.
Yeah.
They monitor our feed. And they do that kind of coordination. We do not have a full-time communication staff, which is why we have to rely on our social media webpage, our website, and the things that people sign up for to the listserv.
And, yeah, and typically, I come from the communications world, that's my background. Cities aren't spending a lot of their time on the neighborhood pages, we're pushing out information, we may have contacts listservs, and that's how we're getting the information out. Another thing we can look at is Nextdoor, and if people subscribe to Nextdoor, you can do alerts around specific areas. So if there's an area around like tabs, you can do an alert and message directly to that area and saying, hey, here's updated information and go to see something. Something like that. So it's like exploring other communication tools that might be useful.
Yeah, no, I'm open to that, I just,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you guys, like, people are not getting all the information we think they're getting.
No, I don't disagree with that. That's why people get lessons. I'm not the communications.
Yeah.
But I think part of it too, we always struggle with this in planning, is people are as engaged as they want to be. And it's how you force engagement, and it's really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but, it's not that I wasn't an engaged citizen before, it's just the city didn't always engage in a way that I even knew what was going on, if that makes sense.
I think
It's not that I was not engaged.
And I think it's a social media issue too, because a lot of the social medias don't, I don't see 90% of what happens in the city's page, because for some reason the algorithms don't let me see, they only let me see certain people, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to see the same 5 people constantly I wanna see what everybody's doing. I wanna see everybody that I follow is page. And I think part of it, social media just blocks people for some reason. So then it's hard. And the website, there's so much
Yeah.
on there. It's hard for people to navigate. And I've heard that. So just for me, I'm like,
And it's my question about community engagement at the workshop, and so I'll be talking about this, but. I mean, there's things we've done before that we're not doing now, like we haven't done like an e-newsletter regularly. The mayor's message, things like that. So bringing some of those back, but also evaluating how we are communicating or engaging now with our current programs and how we can enhance our improvement processes. So maybe looking at an overall public engagement strategy and, what's like the goals and what would council and also staff have opinions too, like we would like to see is, how we better engage with the community and the ways to do that. And so kind of putting together a strategy document that would help us with future engagement efforts, our current ones, but also future and what that looks like. So.
Yeah, by looking at less than wasn't that, I don't agree, I just, not my area of expertise, so.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, one thing, so the Lake Habit Voters Group, they have 3,500 people on it, and it's anything on taps. I mean, we could send that information to them and they would post it. So that's a way to get it out as well.
Mhm.
I mean, the one thing with something like that is they could be argumentative against the city too, so there's the flip side. But I'm sure that if we have information that's pertinent to low tap stuff, they post it on. So that's a way to get it out.
Definitely, and so if there's a contact person, and that would be great, like who's admin of that site and managing it, like that would be the person that we'd want to connect with. And like, hey, can you please share this information with your group? That's kind of like, if you have business news, hey, can you share this with your business community? PTAs, hey, you have the mayor's right coming up, can you please share this with your community as well? So that's like usually we'll have the contact person with those groups, community groups, and then so like there are liaisons there. So, and then they have a liaison with the city as well, so.
So should I give it to you? I have the contact for that.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we will, move on to item E, discussion action items. Looks like there's nothing, so we will move on to item F, open committee discussion. Anything? Did you have anything you wanted to add still from last discussion? No? Okay, all right, public comments. I feel like there's nobody on there that is from the public.
Is there?
Okay, all right, then there's nobody in the seats, and so we are adjourned. Thank you.
If you agree with that.